Good evening and welcome to the 5-8, where we take each of the week's 5 most fucked up topics and discuss them for 8 minutes. 5 topics, 8 minutes, 2 hosts, a guest, some singing, a lot of curse words, and as many cocktails as we deem necessary. LB, how are you?
I'm good at having a margarita.
That's good. We have to, it is Cinco de Mayo. So
It's Cinco de Mayo.
I'm having the tequila as well. I'm having all Mexican themed beverages tonight.
What's your tequila? What's in your tequila?
Nothing. Ice. This is Coralejo. What is it? The añejo. This stuff is fantastic. You don't need anything with it. It's so good.
It's sweet and delicious. But let me see the size of that pour. What am I up against tonight? Oh no, that's good.
Yeah, there's a huge ice cube in here too. I mean, I may refill during the commercial breaks, but yeah, Cinco de Mayo, as you know, historically is the day after, the day that Mexico celebrates the liberation of Tatooine from the day before. It's very important. So,
yeah, we're also in an astrological stopgap of epic proportions. So
yeah, it's
like Mercury retrograde plus some all this stuff. A friend of mine was explaining it, and I went over. And we did a whole ritual and we wrote this stuff down and we burned it in the fireplace. And it felt really great to do this. It's an Indian ritual, not Native American, because I wouldn't use that word, but East Indian. And then realized we were doing it on the wrong day, that we were supposed to do it today. So I'm going to go after this and I got stuff to burn in the fireplace today.
Okay. Well, there's no shortage of things to burn.
No shortage of things to burn.
Yeah, no shortage of things to burn.
And go ahead.
No, finish your
thoughts. I did this morning, just to catch everybody up. I was on the picket line for my first day on the picket line with my dermatologist burned on my face and no makeup. So, but I was able to collect because I wanted to collect footage for all that. So we'll be sharing that with everyone today too, and hopefully doing more of this. I'll tell you guys all about that when we get there.
Yeah, I know what I forgot. I know I was forgetting something. It took me a while to figure this out, that I can't have the banner during the intro because we miss Ron DeSantis's white boots.
Yeah.
So I have to have it on now.
All right, so we have should we get going? Because
we're going to get going.
We have Cinco de Mayo. Did you have something else to let everybody know?
Real quick, I just want to say thank you. First of all, Chunk is a genius, as we know. I feel like we don't acknowledge him enough on the show because I don't want to take him for granted. It's wonderful, the animation up front. We love Chunk. I think that everyone loves Chunk, but I just want to throw it out there at the beginning. I also want to give a warm welcome tonight to all of our members who joined the membership. We really appreciate you. To all of our subscribers, to all our friends watching the show, our family watching the show, and a special raising of the glass to all fake electors in Georgia who were granted immunity today. Let's drink to that.
Oh, yeah. I will drink to that.
All right, let's get started.
I wonder who they have to share with Fannie Willis to help them out. I wonder who it could have been. Mark Meadows. Maybe he knows. All right, here we go.
Just asking questions.
Timer. We're going. Oh, the Proud Boys. Okay, everybody. Cinco de Mayo. Somebody tweeted that, and I said, "Okay, Greg, that's the name of the segment on the Proud Boys."
It's good. It's a good one. Yeah.
It's a good one. I mean, I don't have a tremendous amount to say on this, and I certainly don't have a big involved rant or anything to deliver for everybody, mostly because I've been a little scattered with the strike. But yeah, these are quite possibly the dumbest goddamn criminals that ever. Like, I study criminals. Everyone knows this. In the kinds of criminals I study, because it's organized crime, they are the most brilliant minds you've ever come across. Really, truly, incredible, brilliant minds, usually from about 100 years ago. And then there are their grandkids and their great nephews, not so bright. And then there's just, even dumber than those dumbos. Yeah.
Do you mean hereditary people, hereditary oligarchs that gets watered down generation after generation? Is that what you're trying to say?
Nepo babies from crime families tend to have a lot of needs. And they certainly need a lot of criminal defense attorneys that kind of throw their hands up because it's just so dumb. I'm not saying that's what the January 6th Proud Boys were, but and even the ones that weren't there got Enrique wasn't even on hand, right? That got his charge for seditious conspiracy. But to get a charge like that, which is so hard, that's one of the hardest charges for the Department of Justice to bring against an individual criminal or collection of criminals, is seditious conspiracy. And these guys made it so easy that the jurors came out today and started saying what was actually, what kind of sunk them was just all their communications with one another. They just talked about it, plotted it, planned it. It's, the whole thing was just an ongoing, out in the open conversation, which frankly, folks like me, people that were in Telegram looking at all their stuff, we were kind of saying, hey, they're kind of planning this thing. And maybe we want to pay attention to it, law enforcement, because it sounds like they're going to try to overthrow the government and take the Capitol, and there'll be a lot of violence, and they want violence in the crowds. And it seems pretty planned. They did have T-shirts. They were organized with their buses that Ginny's people paid for. They did have comms in their ears, and they knew where they were going. They had plans. They had plans of the inside of the Capitol building. They were sharing all that online. They had a little 1776 memo bulletin. This is what we're doing. This is what. So, yeah, these are the dumbest of the dumb. The dumbest criminals. Oh my God. So then they get caught. And then they get really caught, because it's getting indicted, caught, and then there's having a jury come back and saying, yeah, you're guilty
of seditious conspiracy.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
You're going to jail. Even us, your fellow Dumbo citizens, can see how dumb you are, that you did this and you plotted and planned it in the open. And then, Greg, I believe you have a little audio. We have a little saga.
Wait, who is this? Brian Larson recorded this. I want to give credit to where it comes from.
Credit to Brian Larson.
This is a recording of a Twitter Spaces among Proud Boy adjacent people, sympathizing people, around the time that the indictment was read. So here we go.
Tweeted that Zachary Real was found guilty. Dario was found guilty of seditious conspiracy. That's all I've got.
Maybe we all need to take a breath for just a second and breathe.
To say that I'm disappointed right now is, I think, an understatement, because I think what they're going to do is, I'm sorry, my voice is quivering right now. I think they're coming after every Proud Boy that was there with this bullshit.
You think?
I'm tired of hearing patriotically and peacefully. I got to be honest on that.
So that's a threat.
So
yep, it is.
All I got to say is, seriously, fuck this government. I'm done with it. It needs to be abolished. And if there's 3-letter people in here, screw you. Get on board or get out of our way.
I'm sure the FBI is shaking their
I'm
boots.
not okay. I'm not okay right now. I'm not okay.
I'm sorry, guys. I gotta go. I got a podcast to do right now.
Oh, and now we gotta go do our podcast.
This motherfucker's threatened.
That's the best part. The podcast is in Venezuela. He's got to take a plane immediately.
Oh, I got a podcast. I'm out of here.
Yeah. So people actually believe all this shit to the point. I mean, and this is, we're making fun of these people, and we should ridicule them.
And we should. I'm
forever.
sorry. Yeah.
But this is, we were talking about this earlier. This is an indictment on our education system, which the Republicans want to destroy. These people are in they've been completely brainwashed. They are zombies. To cry about these fucking people being found guilty of seditious conspiracy. That's, if you try to overthrow the government, no matter what government it is, and you don't succeed, you are fucked. That's it. I read a lot of history, and I'm here to tell you, it doesn't end well when that happens.
Right. And if you think that in a democracy, this was a free and fair election.
Mhm.
I understand that they got radicalized into believing that it was stolen, all that crap that Donald Trump, and his lackeys did. But they wanted to believe that too. What they wanted was a day of just unleashed, like, let me just unleash my childhood rage and
Yeah.
be a child and go in and just shit and piss, literally, on the Capitol and try to just take the government because we understand how government works. It is so ignorant. It is so uh, debased. It's so immature. It's so wounded, and not in a way that I'm trying to garner empathy, but it's like, what kind of wound do you have that this is your whole life and your whole world? You can't accept a loss of a political party in an election to the degree that you don't resist peacefully. You don't speak out. You don't try to build your own party up. You don't try to figure out what you did wrong. You don't try to, fight back against the administration that's in there in terms of maybe exposing corruption or all the stuff that we did. You go and you use violence to invade the Capitol to try to steal the actual elector votes, and you're going to kill lawmakers, including the vice president, in the process if you can get your hands on them. Certainly attack and kill police officers. And then cry as if that's not a crime. So good riddance. I want to say real quick, I do not accept the foregone conclusion that all the pundits are saying that this means if Enrique Tarrio wasn't on site and on the scene, and he can be convicted of seditious conspiracy because he was conspiring for this and plotting and planning this, that somehow that means just de facto that the Department of Justice is going after Donald Trump. Even if with Merrick Garland saying, it doesn't matter who the person is, we're going to come and get them. I just think everyone needs to put the brakes on that. Wait, stop jumping to conclusions. We don't know that this Justice Department will have the spine to do that. We don't know that. We know it's as obvious as these guys because it's all he was saying to us. Go take the Capitol. I'll be with you. He was saying it's stolen. He wanted this violence. He was sitting watching the TV, waiting for the violence to happen. Are they going to kill Mike Pence? Please kill him, and then I'll win. He wanted to steal the office of the presidency because that would mean he wasn't facing the cascade of criminality and real accountability for his crimes that he is facing right now. The only reason he stoked all of these people to go in there, and they're now going to prison for 20 years, probably, and commit seditious conspiracy and violently try to overthrow the government, is simply because he didn't want to go to a jail cell like they're going.
Yep.
And there will be a moment where that clicks for these people. There's the only reason he wanted to hold on to office is because he thought it would make him immune to prosecution, and it would have. He would have corrupted everything until it meant, yeah, there is no Department of Justice there's no Attorney General who's going to put me away. All right? That is all he was going for. And I know everyone can go state crimes. You still would have been responsible. Look at how they're corrupting the state legislatures to try to get rid of Fani Willis even. This is the only reason he wanted to overthrow the government, is he didn't want to go to fucking prison. And now he's facing going to prison. But these guys are going in first. Okay? But again, I'm not holding out hope for Merrick Garland to do anything about January 6th. I know he's passed the baton to Jack Smith. We'll get into that later. Let's see what Jack Smith has to deliver for us.
One more quick point on that.
Yeah.
With the tiers, we had said, what's going to puncture the bubble? What's going to puncture the bubble? And the answer was always indictments, and now convictions and prison terms. That's what punctures the bubble. Mm-hmm. These people who are going to they might be mad. They might think that they got screwed or whatever, but that punctures the bubble. Once they're in prison and the reality sets in, that's it. People are going to be much less likely to do this next time, especially to overthrow a government that is actively trying to help fucking people like this. Yeah. The Biden government that they are opposed to is the one that wants education and all this stuff. That's the irony here. They're opposing a government that's more likely to actually do stuff that would help them specifically. It's really so stupid. It's so dumb. And it's sad, really. And if it wasn't so awful and violent, I would be sad about the whole thing, because it's just so sad. On a human scale, it's sad. It's sad for the country. But it's also nice that these fuckers are going to prison for a long, long time.
Yeah.
So, okay, let's move on.
Let's see what happens to them in prison. Maybe they're
Yeah.
going to come out, as the next Taliban. I don't know.
Maybe. We'll see.
We'll see. Okay.
Topic number 2, pay off Lenny. I should explain this. Okay, because nobody watches sports that watches the show. There's a football player named Leonard Fournette, okay? And he's kind of like okay in the regular season, but in the playoffs, he kind of ups his game, and everybody on Twitter calls him Playoff Lenny. So Leonard Leo, once he's exposed, moving the money around, he's Payoff Lenny. That's it. That's my little pun that literally no one will understand. So I had to explain it. Huge piece in the Washington Post yesterday, and I wrote down the people and it printed in blue, and I don't have blue ink, but there's 3 reporters on this this is about Leonard Leo, the Federalist Society, dark money guy who I've written extensively about. I'm going to read from some of this piece because it's worth pausing and taking it in. Conservative judicial activist Leonard Leo arranged for the wife of Supreme Court Justice Clarence Thomas to be paid tens of thousands of dollars for consulting work just over a decade ago, specifying that her name be left off billing paperwork, according to documents reviewed by the Washington Post. In January 2012, Leo instructed the GOP pollster Kellyanne Conway to bill a nonprofit group he advises and use that money to pay Ginny Thomas, the documents show. The same year, the nonprofit, the Judicial Education Project, filed a brief to the Supreme Court in a landmark voting rights case. Leo, a key figure in a network of nonprofits that has worked to support the nominations of conservative judges. That's really a very generous phrase for what this
Wow.
is. Yeah. Told Conway that he wanted to get her to, quote, give Ginny Thomas, quote, another $25K, the documents show. He emphasized that the paperwork should have, quote, no mention of Ginny, of course, end quote. Conway's firm, the polling company, sent the Judicial Education Project a $25,000 bill that day, which I would do too, Per Leo's instruction, it listed the purpose as supplement for Constitution polling and opinion consulting, the documents show. Supplement for Constitution polling and opinion consulting. This is fuck you bullshit. Okay. In all, according to the documents, the polling company paid Thomas's firm, Liberty Consulting, $80,000 between June 2021 and June 2012, and it expected to pay $20,000 more before the end of 2012. The documents reviewed by the Post do not indicate the precise nature of any work Thomas did for the Judicial Education Project or the polling company. So no evidence of
They're
work.
just money laundering.
Yeah.
It just, wow.
It goes on. We got to get to the quotes, the Leo quotes here. They're so good.
God.
Okay. The arrangement reveals that Leonard Leo, a longtime Federalist Society leader and friend of the Thomases, has functioned not only as an ideological ally of Clarence Thomas's, but also has worked to provide financial remuneration to his family. And it shows Leo arranging for the money to be drawn from a nonprofit that soon would have an interest before the court. In response to questions from the Post, Leo issued a statement defending the Thomases. And I quote, "It's no secret that Ginny Thomas has a long history of working on issues within the conservative movement, and part of that work has involved gouging public attitudes and sentiment. The work she did here did not involve anything connected with either the court's business or with other legal issues," he wrote. "As an advisor to JEP, I've long been supportive of its opinion research limiting to limited government, and the polling company, along with Ginny Thomas's help, has been an invaluable resource for gauging public attitudes." Of the effort to keep Thomas's name off paperwork, Leo said, "Knowing how disrespectful, malicious, and gossipy people can be, I have always tried to protect the privacy of Justice Thomas and Ginny." Leo's statement did not address questions about whether he had arranged other work for Ginny Thomas or how much money he directed to her in all from the nonprofit. And, you're not going to believe this, but none of these other fuckers commented for the story.
Wow.
That's it.
I got some thoughts.
Please
I have notes.
share.
Yeah, here's my notes. as you know, I don't know how much we've shared with the audience, but I have this long running suspicion that the big thrust of the Thomases grift of why they don't disclose and why they hide everything is they don't want to pay taxes on it. So even with the vacations, if he's declaring those as gifts, as he's required by the ethics, but he doesn't do it, and because you're really not, because John Roberts, his court is corrupt and he doesn't give a shit, and Ginny has his balls in her fucking handbag. John Roberts' balls. Ginny Thomas owns that man. Um, I, I, but I think it's like, even if he has to put stuff officially on forms as gifts, then he would need to report that tax-wise. I mean, there'd be a paper trail that he
Yeah.
received a gift of $100,000 vacation or whatever. So, I think they're in a little bit of a different category, and maybe that's how they justify it. Because as justices, we can't just take vacations with our friends like other people that the friends might pay for it, and other people get away with that and they don't have to call it gifts, but we do. So we're going to leave it off the forms because it's not fair. We'd have to pay taxes on something like that. I think there's a lot of rationalizing around the taxes. But also, if he's giving a $25,000 extra kick, right? Let me give her a little bit more, because probably he had donations coming into his PAC and into his Federalist Society from donors that Ginny was recruiting. So you pay him, he pays me. This is how it all works. But with no name on that, then why would she declare it? Who would even know that she had it? Right? So I think these guys have been really, there's a tax avoidance happening here that's on an epic scale with the Thomases. And that I think, I would hope that the IRS, maybe this is why there's all this bleeding about the IRS and new IRS agents and blah, 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 is also because, okay, well, I think you only need one to handle 9 justices. I think one extra IRS agent.
I think people would do it for free.
I think people might do it for free.
Yeah.
And the other thing about the Kellyanne Conway piece in this story is it reminds me of Liz Cheney, in that these women are so ready, willing, and able to cover up for Ginny.
Yeah.
Liz did not. Ginny got away with that January 6th committee of not testifying under oath. She talked to them, but she wasn't under oath, so she couldn't perjure herself. And they didn't pursue her at all. I don't know if the Justice Department will, but both Liz and Kellyanne Conway are just these fervent anti-abortionists. It's like a
anti-science fascism is what it is.
Yeah,
Like, whatever, masked in some religious.
It's a sickness. Yeah, it's like a sickness. The focus and the just the complete, willing to let even mothers die because there's a fetus that's in a fallopian tube, and maybe by some miracle it, just really, and children, child rape. Yeah, like she has to carry the rapist baby because that's what God wants. So they're not well women, and I royal at the. I'm sorry. I know Liz was, and I liked what she did with the committee to a certain point, but I'm glad she's out of office. And God forbid Kellyanne Conway ever get near anything that's legislative and has any kind of control over my body, and my daughters and all of ours. But she's, those Conways. Yeah.
The word con is right there.
Right.
I just want to,
way. It's the con way.
The con way. Shout out, by the way, to Moscow Never Sleeps, because on Prevail years ago now, I think 2.5 years ago, wrote about the Thomases. And he said, before I even knew who Ginny Thomas was, the way to get these people is to have somebody look at their taxes. And man, oh man, that might be one of the most precious pieces of writing that I've seen. Okay, so listen, we have but before we get to everything, we're not going to time this. This is a new little wrinkle, just a little bit of fun that we're having, because we're showing the footage as the get. So we're going to play a little game, and you don't know what this game is.
Okay.
You don't know what the game is.
I didn't even know there was going to be a game.
There's going to be a game.
Okay.
I've not only is there going to be a game, I prepared a graphic for the game.
I'm going to lose this game.
You cannot lose the game. Okay. And this game is called What did Harlan pay for? That's it. Okay.
Oh.
So I'm going to read you an item,
Okay.
and you're going to tell me a Clarence Thomas related item. I should preface this.
Okay.
Because as we know, Clarence Thomas his whole life has been underwritten by this very wealthy man from Texas, Harlan Crow. I'm going to read something, and you're going to tell me yes or no. Did Harlan pay for that for
Okay.
Clarence Thomas? Okay.
All right, here
I
we
have
go.
12 things on the list.
All right.
Let's see how many you can get. Okay. Number one.
Oh, wait. We need a different. You need a catchphrase. Paid or pass.
Okay. Pay it or pass.
Okay.
Okay. All right.
Because Clarence Thomas wanted him to pay for all these things. So did he pay it? Did he pick up the tab? Or did
not.
he stiff him?
Yep. Okay. Number one. Boarding school for his great nephew.
Paid.
Correct. Oh, I should have the ding ding. Do I have
that's
that?
okay.
Thing? Wait,
Just go
no,
correct.
I think I have. I have it right here. I think I
Oh,
have it
there
right
you
here.
go. Get your sound effect box.
That's the
ready.
wrong one. Okay, that's good. That's the sound effect right there.
Okay.
Can you hear it?
Yeah, I
Okay.
got it.
Okay, number two. Yacht trip around Indonesia.
Paid.
Number three. Bohemian Grove Men's Retreat.
Paid.
Number four. Pilgrimage to Russia to visit Rasputin's tomb.
Oh my God. He paid for this. Yes.
Number five. $1,000 bar tab at the Kit Kat Club in Berlin.
Well, I'm going to say he paid for it, but we don't know that yet.
It's a trick question. Berlin uses euros, not dollars.
Okay. Pass.
Seriously, there's no record of that. So he did
There's
not
no
pay for
record
that
of that.
because I
Pass.
made that one up. Okay.
Yeah.
Bible owned by Frederick Douglass.
Oh, I'm going to pass on that because that would just make me want to vomit.
I'm sorry, you're wrong. He did, in fact. Yeah, he got him a Bible.
a Bible owned by Frederick Douglass.
I think it was Frederick. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Frederick Douglass. It's awful. Yeah, it's bad. Okay.
Yeah.
Number 7. You're doing well. You're doing great. You're 5 out of 6 right now. Number
Oh my
7.
God.
Washington National season ticket package.
Pass. That was for someone else.
Correct. Number 8. Recurring monthly memberships to 50 OnlyFans pages.
Well, we don't know this yet, but I'm going to say yes.
Again, I made that one up. We don't know.
But
Would it
there's something
surprise
going
us?
on there because there was some of the that was anonymous saying we've got your porn thing. Yeah, right on Clarence Thomas. Yeah.
Yep. Number 9. Falsely attributed cash payments to Ginny Thomas.
Yes, paid.
No,
Oh.
Leonard Leo made the false payments to Ginny Thomas.
But it didn't come
Sorry.
in from him. That's
Trick
right. Not Harlan Crow.
question.
Trick
The name of the
question.
game is
Oh,
what
I
did
get all of
Harlan pay
these
for?
Nazi swastika plate.
Ooh, look at that.
Munchers.
It got Double Jeopardy got more complicated for you.
Double Jeopardy got complicated. I'm going to drink my margarita.
Number 10, Mother's House.
Yes, paid.
Number 11, renovations on Mother's House.
Paid.
And in the final one, property in Colorado that had been on the market for 2 years.
Okay, well, that was Gorsuch. But I think Harlan Crow, I think it was Harlan that paid it.
No, it
Who
was
paid it?
Gorsuch. It was Gorsuch. It was a guy named Duffy, who's the CEO of a huge law firm.
Okay, I'm not caught up all the way. on all
He
the
said
shitbags.
he said the quote is wonderful. He said, "It's a lovely piece of property and we're glad we bought it."
I saw that.
Oh my God. I love that so much. I can't even.
I'm telling you, the real estate, if you want to go into real estate and have nothing but a cascading success, just become a Republican, a GOP appointed Supreme Court justice. And you're
Easy
good as
peasy.
gold.
Easy peasy. Yeah.
Easy
It couldn't be
peasy.
easier. I don't think the intellectual rigor is all that high to make that cut either.
Not
You
anymore.
just have to have no morals whatsoever.
Not anymore. Okay.
Hey, we have a
I think
special
we have a
message here.
sponsor.
We
Yeah.
do. We have a special message here.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wait, I got to turn the thing off. I'm sorry. Sorry. I got to turn off I have to hide the banner. And then here is our message.
And now a word from our sponsor.
In the Napolitan community, there's nothing more special than when a member of your family gets made. That's what we call it when you're so good at your job that you can't be fired. It's a big fucking deal. Hi, I'm Nunzio Ciccarelli, president of the Bank at About a Bit. And for once, I ain't trying to sell you something. I'm here today to pay tribute to an individual near and dear to my heart. A wise guy who, this weekend, is gonna be a made man. He comes from one of the biggest and oldest crime syndicates in Europe. They've done extortion, market manipulation, money laundering, human trafficking, slave labor, targeted assassination, and straight up theft on a gigantic fucking scale. No one runs the jewels like these people. And even better, they got the whole world believing they're on the up and up. And yeah, there's been some serious competition lately from the Russians, but you know what? Ivan can buy all the football teams he wants. Don't change the fact that our boy's mug is on the fucking money. You know who I'm talking about. So give it up for my boy Charlie, the fucking king. True, he's a bit old for the job and a little unorthodox. You're supposed to take your gumar out on Friday night, not marry her and make her queen. But even so, the Bank of the Bada Bing sends its sincerest congratulations on your special day. From the Ciccarelli family to the House of Saxe, Goldberg, and Gotha, Mazel Tov. Long live the king. I hope this doesn't fuck up the thing we got going on in Jersey. Also, tell your brother to give me a call about the Epstein thing. And now, back to the show.
Stuart Sevray, that's for you, man. That's
That's
for you.
Stuart.
I was
No
thinking of you the whole
lies
time I was doing that.
detected. No lies detected in that. Okay. Well, after our evil laugh, so we've got our third segment, which is normally a guest, but I couldn't. Here's what I was going to do, guys. I was going to go live from the picket line tonight, and I couldn't figure out how to make that happen. Sorry. So we have recorded guests, which are my fellow picketers.
Do you want to set this up a little bit before we go? Because I think,
Well,
I
I think for people to understand, so I'm in the Writers Guild. I've been in the Writers Guild. Oh my God. I want to say 2008 was there was a strike and I was getting in to the guild, the last strike. So I think it was 2008, maybe 2007. So, it's a lot to be in that union. It's a great union. They do a lot for us. I have, healthcare and pension and all this stuff. And you have to really hustle and work your ass off every single year to qualify to stay in the union. And so it's, both ends of that, the union members and then the unions, our organized leadership and what our union provides back to us. Everybody really works hard, not to mention it's hard work. It's not, and everyone wants to think that like writing for television and film is some kind of glamorous thing. It's really not. It's hard. I used to call my job, and I still call my job. I eat plates of hot shit every day. Like that's what I do for a living. You're constantly taking notes and like having meetings and like hearing, doing these and working so hard on the material and up all night, no time with your family, deadlines, pressure. It's a lot. I'm a primarily feature film writer, worked for all the studios. I'm a studio writer. So this hits home for me, but most of the writers in the guild, the large majority of them are staff writers. So they write on television and limited series for other folks that are the showrunners who are also in the guild. The showrunners are creators like me. We're creators. We adapt stuff, create good, and then the majority of the guild are the people that work for us and with us to write every episode, to like make these episodes on television. It's not one person per show that's the show writing everything. There are some shows where you see that they're very rare, and still I'm telling you, there are writer rooms. There's just a whole team of people, and they all work so hard. What has happened with the streamers, when the streamers came in, we made a lot of gains, and the first strike was about knowing that we were going to have these streamers, that everything was going to be digital. And so we struck for that, went on strike to get residuals from that. And no one in the industry understood that except for the writers. I think because we write this shit and we write the future and we're like, oh, we know what's coming. We can see this. And as soon as everything's going over a pipe, instead of coming from a broadcast, a traditional pipe broadcast, as soon as it's coming onto your computer, as well as your television, everything's connected to the internet. We didn't have any rights in that kind of distribution of our content. And all of the companies that we could see that were going to form around this, we're going to end up saying, we don't have to pay you residuals. We don't have to pay into your union. We don't have to pay your health. We don't have to pay your pension, because it's wasn't coming out of the traditional. It's not going in a movie theater, and it's not something that's on a DVD, and it's not like those things were all in there, which we had fought for before, but not the streamers. So we do it, we fight for it, and lo and behold, we were right. All of a sudden, there's Netflix and Hulu and all this shit, and everybody's just getting it over the internet. It's all being streamed, and thank God we have some percentage of that, of ownership of our own shows, and we get paid on residuals for that, which is a very different schedule as well. So I don't know if everybody remembers this, but you remember shows like ER, Hill Street Blues, so back in the days, even Law and Order, that you'll watch a season. It just how it used to be. You'd watch like 22 episodes or so, and then it would go on hiatus, and you'd see the reruns of the whole season, and then the next season would come out, and there'd be a little break in there because they were writing and filming and producing the next set of episodes for the next season. Well, with streamers, there's no seasons. I mean, there are seasons in terms of we see it, but a lot of it's binged. A lot of it dumps all at once. Episode orders per season are 10 at most, usually 8 or even 6 now. So, and you're tied into these contracts when you work on these shows that you can't compete. So it went from 22 episodes, and you're paid per episode, if not a little bit more, because the seasons it wouldn't be one a year. It would kind of maybe one every 10 months, and then the next one would start. So 22 episodes where you have residuals on everything and blah, 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 down to 8 episodes. That's all you can do for the whole year, and you can't compete and go anywhere else. And then they squeezed it even further into what they call these mini rooms. So that's the reason, the big reason for this reason we had the strike the first time, and we still have to make some gains on that. The big sticking point on this, one of the big sticking points for this strike in the negotiations, is we also want some type of say and regulation around AI and how that is used. And so that's, again, the future leaning projection that the Writers Guild, the writers are forming their guild, and the guild is going to the table and saying, hey, you can't, even if writers are using these tools, we need some rules around all that and some agreement, and how, and the minimum size of a room, can't have these mini rooms anymore, all of this thing, so that we can have employed writers. So we have our industry. So there's actually careers that people can have, and they can make a living wage. A lot of these writers are writers that aren't even in the guild anymore, not because they weren't on a hit show, but because they didn't make the minimum, because they only got 6 episodes and then they got kicked out for a year. And so that's why I brought that up before, of like how hard it is to even just stay in the guild and meet your minimum annual requirement of earnings by a guild signatory, so that you can have your union benefits, so you don't start all over again. So this is the whole crux of everything. The streamers are the big blockage in this. I got to be honest. From what I'm hearing, Netflix is kind of the worst, and a couple of the other studios are frustrated with them. So I'm there on the Netflix picket line, and I'm going on the across the driveway where all the trucks come in and out, because I want to stop the traffic. I want people to think twice before they cross our picket line and go in to, provide whatever goods and services or business that they might have at Netflix. So today,
just to, wrap it up what you were saying, I think what's happening is that the model or the paradigms for how we consume content have obviously shifted vastly.
Right.
Vastly. And if people are canceling cable, it just ain't the same like it was even 10 years ago, and
we knew that in 2007.
You guys have contracts that are based on a model that no longer exists.
That's right.
It's like you're dealing with fax machine. You have a fax machine contract in the age of email, and you need to get to the fucking email place before AI takes over the world and kills us all. Yeah.
Once we have it, everybody has it. So we're the first, our contract comes up first. The Rectors Guild is next. They're in a couple of months, six weeks or so. They're committing to standing behind us. Last time they went to the table and they negotiated, but they negotiated for what we were asking for. So that because the directors have all the power, there is not a studio executive who is going to, and head of any of these companies who are going to think that they can replace directors. And so when the Directors Guild weighs in on your side, they'll cut deals with them, and then that gives them no excuse not to give us the deal. So I think there's some thinking around all that. But this thing very well may go all the way into the fall when SAG-AFTRA is up and their contract is up, and they're going to stand right behind us because they are really frustrated. They're as frustrated as we are, and their union isn't as well organized. I'm sorry to say that. It's just not as ours is. So wish us luck, everybody. It's going to be a really long, brutal, hard summer, and we're still going to lose a lot of really talented writers because they're just not going to be able to afford this. They couldn't afford it. That's to be writers before. They're driving Ubers and taking gig, they're in the gig economy. And now, hopefully they can survive this but there's also hopefully a career for them on the other side of it, which is what we're fighting for. Yeah. Because it's a really wonderful profession. I know I say I work hard, I eat plates of hot shit, but God, I do get to do the one thing I'm talented at and make a living at it and have a pension and have health insurance and write, So I don't know what else to do. I know how to do these podcast things now and these YouTube shows, but I don't have any other skill, you guys. This is it for me. Thank God I qualify for my pension,
This is just another situation where super fucking rich people without any creative talent are just exploiting the people with real talent. I mean, that's all that this is. Did you see Ed Solomon had a little thread that I retweeted? Ed Solomon wrote Bill and Ted, and he wrote Men in Black, right? Okay, which are like really fucking hugely successful movies. And he's like, the studios keep telling him that all of his movies lost money.
That's right.
Because he's supposed to have a percentage of whatever. And they're like, no, we lost money on all of that. And it's just some fucking accounting bullshit. They're just going to fuck the writers over. So fuck these people. They don't need their goddamn money. Fuck them. That's my,
It's obscene. And they got obscene bonuses this year. It's really disgusting. Really to make our contract happen, it's one successful movie release and profits across all the studios for the entire year. And they would get to share all of that. So it's the Alliance of Motion Picture and Television Producers, but that basically means studios. And just so everybody understands, when you think of networks on traditional television, cable and broadcast networks, those are all owned. There's a studio behind them that pays for everything. So the studios write the checks. That's who writes the checks. That's who you can sell to FX, but FX has got to go get their studio to make sure that they're footing the bill on anything, which they do. They back their networks, but it's the people with all of the money, and they make a lot of money, and they pay their executives hundreds of millions of dollars every year.
They pay them to be dicks. That's the job. Hey, you want to be? You can be. Maybe that's the new fake ad. Would you like to be a soulless asshole? You can make lots of money. It's fucking people.
Yeah. All right. I'm up for that.
Show us the clip. I want to see you at the picket line.
Let's go. All right. You play it because you're in the control board. Yeah.
I'm going to go into the control board. Here we go.
Okay. All right. This is day one for me from the picket line.
I'm Reed. I'm an assistant editor in Local 700, the Editors Guild.
Okay. And Reed is marching with us today on the picket line. We ran into each other trying to find a parking space, and we're going to go get our signs right now. Reed, what do you want to say about why this is important?
Why this is important? Because the technology companies have taken over Hollywood, and they run things a little differently, and it's not great. They take advantage of people. We need to stand up for what we all need. Better work-life balance, better pay, better access to resources and technology. So quality of living and life is just, been going down. Inflation's going up. We gotta, make some change and let them know that we're not going to take their bullshit anymore.
Stick it to the man. And why editors? Why do you feel as in the Editor Guild? Why is that important for you to come support the writers?
Because we're all in this together.
I'm back on now I'm at the line. Look, I'll let you see it. There they all go. This is a smaller place, right? This is Charlie.
Hello. My name's Charlie. I am a WGA captain as well as an assistant Picket coordinator for the Netflix Picket here. I'll be out here every morning. Feel free to come join.
Yeah, so tell everybody who can come and join.
Absolutely. Anybody can come support. You can sign in, grab a sign, but mostly it's been, obviously WGA writers out here as well as friends from other unions.
Friends from other unions. Make sure I've got you in frame. I can't see.
Yes, I'm in frame.
Okay, tell everybody who you are.
My name's Chloe Dykstra. I'm with SAG, but I'm also a producer for smaller features.
Love our Teamsters. I love those guys. All right. Okay, so you're here as a member of SAG supporting the writers because what's going to happen if these guys don't pay us what we need to pay, but also make the accommodations that we need with the coming AI and everything else?
Are we talking about when the strike ends? Or
yeah.
Are we talking
why are you here? Why do we need to support writers?
Well, because writers need protections. I think that they are the sort of lesser sung heroes of the filmmaking industry, and I think we need to value them. And it's honestly the industry is constantly evolving, and we need to evolve the way that we take care of the creatives in the industry as it goes. And AI is going to screw up everything if we don't protect it. Right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's for everybody.
Terrifying. Yeah. Absolutely terrifying.
Yay! So. All right. Yes, Charlie.
Yeah.
Why did you become a captain? What is this?
I became a captain because I wanted to get more involved in the union. I wouldn't have a career without the past gains of the union, and getting involved as a captain was my way to make sure we keep making gains that secure this as a viable career for future generations of writers.
When did you join the union?
I joined in 2016.
Oh my God, you're so young.
Yeah.
I'm the old person out here. All right, well, you've been amazing. You've been an amazing captain. I'm so happy to be out here today and supporting everybody. I'm so glad that you're here supporting us. I think we need more people out here at the Gower location because explain to them that this is also Netflix.
I would agree, yeah. So we're here at Sunset Gower, which is a studio that was purchased by Netflix, and they do a lot of their production work here. So picketing this, and we've turned away a few trucks as well, and
good. They won't cross the line.
Picketing this location is just as effective as picketing their main offices down the street. So.
Okay, now I also have a theory. Are you with me, Charlie? Okay, this is my theory. We're together.
Yeah.
So my theory is that what Netflix cares about, because I've been in there a lot, it is a data company, and what they care about most is their fancy fucking kitchen. And all the little fancy food and the fancy, and they feel so fucking fancy with their Silicon Valley fancy fucking kitchen. So everybody that delivers into that Netflix kitchen, those are Teamster trucks. So we need to be on the picket line, stopping the fancy fucking food delivery from coming, and then we'll get our contract done.
I think that's a great theory.
Yeah,
I think that's a great theory. Starve them out.
No more.
We're gonna starve. And what?
No more kind bars for those guys.
Yes. No more kind bars.
That sounds like a chant in progress.
No more kind bars. Hashtag no more kind bars.
No more kind bars.
No more fancy fucking kitchen.
Absolutely not. And if the Teamsters want to turn those trucks around and bring that food to the picket lines, we're happy with that too.
Oh, amazing. Let's make them pay for our food because they don't do that either. Okay. Bye.
That was great. Good job by you. Wow.
I've never done.
I love that.
Yeah, I'll get better with the camera work, everybody.
Yeah, the camera was good. It's like a siege. It's like you have to surround the city, and it's siege warfare. You just have to starve them out. Exactly what
Let me
said.
tell you,
Deny them the fancy food.
Only
Hydrox cookies for you, Netflix.
Well, I like Hydrox better than Oreo. They're so more fancy on the cookie. So that little line, I do. That little line it was like I multiply that by like 300 people or more, and that was just up the street at the main Netflix. So there was just tons of people and dogs and kids, and oh my gosh, and everybody has such clarity that we're just there to stick it to the man, because this is just so atrocious what's happened to our industry and what these guys. I can't even tell you how we're like, can you just give us this little bit? And they're like, no. And we're like, oh. So now they're going to learn. The other thing about it is none of these streamers existed the last time we had our strike, right? And this is what we were striking for the last time, because we knew they were coming. We knew these companies were coming. We knew this money was coming in. We knew all the focus was going to be on digital, streaming. And sure enough, we were right, but they haven't felt the pain of this. They really don't get it. And with all, we had almost 98%, if not at 98%, member vote yes to strike. It was just like, you never get that at those numbers. And then at the Shrine Auditorium on Wednesday, I didn't get to go, but there was all the other unions showed up, sent all of their leadership, and they were like, "We're with you. Fuck these guys. We're gonna be with you." And none of us are crossing your picket lines. So keep going. So I think they'll feel this. I think it will go on for several months, but I think they'll feel it. Okay, what can we do to support the writers? Go to the WGA thing, and I will post it on Twitter. I was supposed to get it from Charlie, and I didn't get. He's my captain. Can you believe it? He could be my kid. I couldn't believe it. I felt like such an old mom out there. I'm like, I'm ready for that role too. I was like, oh, I'll be the mom of the picket line. I'll bring snacks and water and have tissue paper. So, and gum,
juice boxes
and gum. I was so proud, right? So I was supposed to get that from Charlie, and my day was so crazy, you guys, but I'll get it. I will post it on Twitter. There is a place that you can give donations, because they're going to start having funds and grants for people so that they can pay their mortgages and they don't lose their homes. That happened last strike. It was really, really rough, really hard. And we don't want that to happen this time around. So I'll post it.
Okay. Thanks for asking. Yeah. We're going to keep on this show. We're going to keep talking about this. So
yeah, I'll keep doing it. Every time I'm on the pivot line, I'll do it. So I don't know if we'll have a whole segment, but we wanted to introduce you guys to that. So
yeah. Okay. Moving on.
Oh, we're moving on. All right. Number four.
I don't think I've got 8 minutes on this one, because we went very long on the other two. So that's fine.
Okay. That's fine.
Number 4 is drone. Okay. So poor Vladimir Putin. I just, my heart just
do a fake assassination.
Really just goes out to the guy, First of all, I've shifted my Mexican beverages to Modelo, which is,
oh my gosh.
Modelo Blanco is one of my favorite beers.
It is a good beer.
It's so good. I love it. Okay. And if I don't drink them, my kids will find them in the crisper eventually, and then they'll be gone. So I have to, it's a parenting thing.
Okay. It's
my heart is, it really goes out to, Vova Putin there.
Yeah.
I mean, did you know that somebody tried to kill him in Ukraine? I mean, they sent a drone, LB, to the Kremlin, a drone.
And the Kremlin couldn't spot it until it was right over the top of Vladimir Putin.
It's basically, I read that and I was like, did somebody throw a fucking paper airplane at this guy? Like, what the fuck? Like, come on, dude. Now, it reminds me of a story. I don't know if you know this story. This is a true story.
I do know it. I know where
you're
going.
To do it with Putin? I'm talking about Stalin now.
Are you talking about the plane that came into that someone was flying?
No.
Okay. Never mind. I don't know it.
You can tell that story after.
Okay.
Here's my story about Stalin. Okay. So Stalin, there was Tito, was the leader of Yugoslavia after the Second World War. Okay. That was his war name. His nom de guerre was Tito. He was a Croat, and he united Yugoslavia kind of under the iron. But Yugoslavia was sort of nominally communist, but Tito was really fucking good at taking money from the Americans and the Russians. He was a master at this. He was also a dictatorial asshole, but he was very good at playing both sides. And he and Stalin did not like each other. So Stalin sent somebody to try to kill him, and Tito found the guy out and got rid of him. Then Stalin sent another guy to kill him, and same thing. Tito found the guy, got rid of him. Tito wrote a letter to Stalin and said, I'm going to butcher this a little bit, but I'm paraphrasing here. Hey, asshole, stop sending people to kill me, or I will send someone to kill you, and I won't have to do it more than once.
Oh, I like it.
And that was it. Stalin was like,
asshole from one asshole to another.
Seriously,
sometimes you get the best lines out of that.
It was a ballsy fucking thing, but Stalin left him alone after that. So again, I think that if we wanted to assassinate Putin, he'd be fucking dead. Like, we're not going to say, it's not going to take 3 paper airplanes. This is obvious bullshit, trying to drum up sympathy from whatever 25 people left in Russia who still believe this idiot. How dare they try to kill our beloved leader, Vlad Putin?
Yeah.
Such a good man trying to denazify Crimea. No one believes this shit. And then just imagine this. There's a drone. It looks. What does that even mean? It's like the size of the beer bottle. It's like rolling around the Kremlin.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness, what are we going to do? We have to shoot this down. It's such a fucking pathetic thing. And I think it's telling. I think it is. I think he's desperate now at this point to, try to end any sympathy that he can garner among his people. And I don't think it's going to work. There's a lot of squabbling among the ranks there. This chef guy, Prigozhin, he's not on the same wavelength anymore. Things are looking very bad over in Moscow.
Things are looking bad. Let's see what happens with Prigozhin. I can't ever get past the apartment bombings. Of 1999 that put Putin into power. And so I think the Russian people got off really lucky with just a poof of a drone in the air because their leader is not only sending all of their husbands and sons to slaughter right now. He'd be more than happy to blow up a bunch of grandmothers and babies. He doesn't care. He'll blow them all up so that he can justify whatever he wants to justify. He's a horrible thug. He's a troll. He's only 3'7". I got the real information on him, Greg. I thought he might be over 4 feet, but it came in. He's 3'7". Wow. 3'7". So I have a pool here, and we can just punt him into the big boy end. And then that's the end of Putin. If we're really going to do an assassination attempt, all we need is something that's a little bit bigger than the kiddie pool, because this guy, he's the size of a toddler.
If we really wanted to assassinate you, we will do it. We will not have to do it a second time. But we channel Tito. I'm sure Zelensky could channel Tito. I don't think they're doing shit. I think it would end the war immediately. I don't see why somebody that's the author of all of this horrible, warfare and fucking genocide should be somehow exempt from that because he has diplomatic plates. That seems sort of ridiculous to me, but whatever. What do I know?
Well, I think it's ridiculous when they have nuclear weapons, because then that's the incentive for having nuclear weapons, is to say, I can go and commit genocide and and fratricide and go into my neighbors and just take over sovereign nations. And you can't do anything because I'll just threaten that.
Yeah. Saber rattling.
That's the thing where it's like, you and I talked about this, is I think the Geneva Convention, I think all these things need to have an addendum now of, if you are a nuclear power and you do these things, you're actually not off the list we're putting you back on the list of assassinations that are justifiable.
Yeah. I think that needs to be updated, just like the writer's contract needs to be updated to reflect the current times.
And the Supreme Court ethics.
Everything needs updating. We should be the updaters. Everything.
We got to level up, everybody. We are not even in the century that we're in. We're still in the last goddamn century, and we're almost a quarter of a way into this one. Yeah.
Well, if you go historically speaking, Eric Hobsbawm, the great Marxist British historian, who I cannot recommend the books enough. They're so. This guy is so smart. Like you ever, sometimes you read a book and you're like, this guy's so much smarter than me that I can't even.
Yes.
But he has this series of books about where he sort of divides European events, in section ages, what he calls this: the age of empire, the age of revolution, the age of extremes. And he coined the phrase, the long 19th century, which basically goes from the French Revolution in 1789 through the First World War. So now we're in the short 20th. And we're at the point. Yeah, we're at the point now where maybe it's
21st.
But I think the 20. When did the historical 20th century ended? Ended 9/11. I don't know now.
No, it's still going on.
I think this moment now, whatever this is,
they're crowning a king tomorrow.
It's today in Britain.
Today we're still in we're not, these aren't modern times. My God, guy, I understand that the Constitution there, whatever, says there has to be a coronation. Go and do it, elope with your wife and have someone stick a crown on your head and sign a piece of paper in the mayor's office. We don't need this spectacle. I think it's going to bomb on them. Anyway, just because we're talking about, Tito. I had to bring that guy into it.
Tito.
All right.
Does that mean you're going to have vodka now? Or
Maybe I'll have some
stick to
vodka.
the,
No, I have my one margarita. That's it for the night.
seriously,
All right.
one of the more ballsy statements ever. Like Stalin wasn't like some, piss that guy off. I don't know.
Well, maybe it
Impressive.
should be our off. Maybe we could adapt that into you guys, we have to have an outline of this show. We've been given this note. We have not come up with it. We're just going to steal exit lines from very famous shows until that happens, unless you have one, Greg.
Maybe we should do books. Can we do like the last line of Sun Also Rises isn't it pretty to think so? Maybe we could do that.
Right.
I don't know.
That'll be that when you guys hear that tonight, that means the show's over.
See you next week.
We
Isn't
don't
it pretty
know
to think so?
Yeah.
That's a nice one. I like that.
You get to say it.
Hemingway's so underrated. Okay.
All right. Do we have announcements?
People are trying to cancel him. I was supposed to make a banner for the announcements, except that I don't have any. And I don't know
I don't
that
have
you
any either.
So I figured I'm not going to make an announcement banner when there are no announcements.
There's no announcements other
We're not.
than
Are we doing after? We're not doing after show tonight.
we're not doing an
We're not
after
doing after
hours. You just need to join because we
Joining is
will.
good.
And then
Yeah.
if you're joined and you're a member for just $1.99 a month at the very lowest, you can give us a little more if you feel so inclined. We're out here saying, please support us because I want to keep going down to the picket line and like getting more footage. That was a whole day even though I can't get paid for anything right now, I'm still working my ass off. So yeah, please join, subscribe, share with your friends. Let us know, communicate to us. Let us know what you'd like to have from our show so that we can give you things that you can spread around. Obviously the fake ads are great. Obviously the karaoke is great. But if you see a particular segment or a particular rant or something that you really like, mark it for us. Say, we want that as a clip. And maybe we'll pull that and put that together for you guys so you can share it around as a YouTube short and we can build our little community here because we love you guys. This is amazing. I can't wait to read through all the comments because I haven't had a chance to do that.
I have to say the historian's name. I learned so much from Osborne. It's really good stuff.
His name sounds like Tom Wamskam's.
It does, and it sounds like made up. Like it's like the original AI is this guy.
Yeah.
Right.
It's from a bot. All right. Last topic.
Oh
8
my
minutes.
God.
Let's go.
Can we
Trump crime.
limit this?
Oh my God. I don't even know if we can make it through this one. There's
so
much going on.
I've lost the thread a little bit. Like he's being attacked now in so many different directions that I've lost count. I've lost the thread of things. It's like, one of these old medieval European battles where everyone invades Poland all at once. It's like, I can't, I have a short list. I'll throw out words and then you comment on them.
I will try. And then even today, there's probably been something since we were on air because there seemed to be a firestorm of news today on the various crimes that our former president loves to engage in. I mean, it's his thing. That's his thing, guys. That's his thing. He's a criminal. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Let's go.
Documents. The documents that were at fucking his Mar-a-Lago and just laying around and then they're gone. Where are they? I don't know.
Yeah. So the news today is that the Department of Justice is specifically Jack, right? The special prosecutor is really focusing on the documents case. Remember, Jack Smith has the documents case and he has January 6th. But his focus is, and I'm sure he's focused on both, but ramping up the documents thing, which we all believed and we were told by the Twitter legal authorities that was the easiest case to prove. It's right there. He hid the documents. He didn't hand them over. So it's about, there's a leaning in of that he withheld, that he intentionally hid and didn't turn things over, which had already been reporting on, which we already knew. However, what it looks like there, Greg, is that the attorneys lied for him or were put in a position where they were sort of unknowingly advancing his criminality, that blows up attorney-client privilege. So there's indications with the reporting that Jack Smith is bringing in these attorneys. And once you breach that attorney-client privilege thing, which all mobsters, they all want that. Their attorneys, their little special secret power. It's like, reverse kryptonite. It's like a Shazam.
It's like playground shit.
They
It's
go,
like,
Shazam!
you can't go, I'm everything proof.
Yeah, I'm everything proof. I'm everything proof.
You.
It's what it is. So that looks like it's getting breached. Now, the other thing that came out today about the documents case is also, for some reason, Jack Smith is inquiring into the Live Golf, the Saudi Golf.
No
and
way.
their
The
relationship.
thing that happened 2 weeks after the raid at Mar-a-Lago. Oh my! 2 weeks.
Oh my God! Why were they there with the golf
What?
tournament on Trump's property? And look, Ivana's dead, and let's bury her coffin alongside all these Saudis on the property that's really heavy. Stick it in the ground.
If they took documents out in the golf bags and brought them back to Riyadh, I don't even know, because we were making fun of this at the time. Even in the moment, we thought this.
I mean, and if they're in that coffin,
no,
I know you.
Then we know there is a simulation. The simulation is real. We're going to burst out, and you're going to have the WGA contract signed on the other side.
I hope so, because it means that a Chat GPT bot tried to write a Martin Scorsese movie, right? Because remember how many times they're digging up bodies? Or putting bodies in there. Poor Robert De Niro and Ray Liotta and Joe Pesci are always, one of the two of them or three of the combination are always digging graves, burying people out in the desert or in the field in New Jersey or something. Oh my God, but covering up their crimes with a grave. So, I don't know. My God. All right. So that's that. That's the documents case.
Yeah, we have
what's the next one?
The Georgia elections. I mean, we covered that briefly at the beginning, but this is, that what happened an hour before we went on is that it was revealed that a bunch of the fake electors in Georgia were granted immunity.
Yeah.
Which means, what does it mean, LB, when someone is granted immunity who's a co-conspirator? I don't know.
Well, it doesn't mean that there's suddenly an FBI informant that can go in and host Nazi Twitter spaces. But
okay.
Yeah, but they can't call themselves that. I mean, they can. Apparently, nothing happens to you when you call yourself that. Although what you really got was a sweet deal to get out of your own crimes. Yeah, they made deals. So you can't get a deal unless you've got something to offer. The deal, it goes two ways. Like, you don't just get it because you're special. You get it because you gave something. And this is the old school tactic, Department of Justice prosecutorial tactic of rolling up from the bottom. So little fishies get the middle fishes get the sharks. So I don't know if these guys are little fishes or middle fishes. I feel like they're little fishes, and I feel like this is going to land on Mark Meadows' head like a ton of sardines. That's what I feel like is happening.
Oh, he's so dumb.
It's kind of clear that he's the one who put out this sort of, like, somebody made. Remember Rachel Maddow even did that. That was probably the last time I watched her, just out of whatever. I mean, she stopped being on the news, but she did a whole thing with the fake electors and sort of saying all of these things into all these different areas were the same language, cut and paste, kind of on the same letter, whatever. Was clear that there was a single source through which the fake electors and all of their, you have to have paperwork to be an elector, and this is what we're certifying, all was coming from sort of a headquarters somewhere, probably located around, Pennsylvania Avenue. So that's what we can hope.
Yeah.
And I don't know if Mark Meadows has cut a deal. I don't know. We certainly haven't heard from him, have we?
That usually indicates yes, but he's so dumb that indicates no. Yeah. And then, we saw video of his deposition that was released. And I only watched a few minutes of it because we were getting ready for the show, but they asked him about
Trump's deposition.
Yes, Trump's deposition in the E. Jean Carroll case.
Mm-hmm.
They asked him about the, grab him by the pussy line. And I can't even describe. He was like, well, it's true though, historically. Like he's like, fortunately or unfortunately or fortunately, whatever. Like I can't, the doubling down and the arrogance and it's hard for me to even process. I mean, really, honestly, the only thing I can say, we are so lucky that this guy was president for 4 years and the entire world hasn't been blown up. He's that level of just self-centered, dumb, just so damaged in terms of his ethical, moral compass and everything. Just such a criminal. I mean, he's just an awful person. And my God, we're really just, we, America, the world is lucky that worse things didn't happen. And, and not to, we said this last week and we're going to keep saying it. Like, he raped her, man. He's a fucking rapist.
Yeah.
And the fucking media did not do the job. They didn't do the job for 4 years. They just sort of pretended that was okay and never talked about it ever. It never came up. And it's not right, I mean, that should be disqualifying. It should have been disqualifying for Clarence Thomas, should have been disqualifying for Brett Kavanaugh, should have been disqualifying for Trump. And it's not. And until we can fucking start disqualifying people for this stuff, we're in trouble. We're in serious trouble as a society, because all it means is that we're not taking women seriously. We're not believing women, and we're making excuses for violent, awful men. And we can't have that.
Yeah, I would thank you for that. I would add on to that it's not just making excuses for violent, awful men. It's as if our society is saying that not only is this an acceptable part of having men in our society. I mean, what are we going to do? Not have men? That this is just, this is just part of what it is for men and for a society that has men, that we just have to, that's what he was really saying in that deposition. Fortunately or unfortunately, it's true though. We can just do this. And it's part of what Greg Abbott was saying, and being dumb about it by saying, we're just going to do away with rape. Right? Well, the only way to do that, we're not going to have to prosecute women because we can just do away with rape. Well, the only way to do that is to make rape, to stop having it be something that's a crime, and say the man has a right to do what he wants to do, because what else can we expect of men? And he thought he was fine. He thought he was doing something fine. Trump thought he was doing something fine. What else can you expect of him? He's just a man. Locker room talk, right? Isn't that what his wife said?
Yeah.
So I don't accept that.
No.
I just don't accept that. So we have a lot to reconcile with. There was one more crime. I want to move off of that because you know how I just start going.
Yeah, no. We have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge it.
Thank you. There's one more crime that came up in the last minute today that's coming out of Letitia James' office. She's like, "Oh yeah, he had evidence and documents in our fraud case. We're now discovering that we asked him to disclose everything, and it turns out he didn't disclose, and neither did his kids." And it's like, the contempt for the rule of law is what gangsters do. That's what defines them. They will just not turn something over. This is how they get out of, this is how criminals that are gangsters get out of accountability for their crimes. They don't, they make it look like they're cooperating. Oh, we'll sit there and talk. Oh, sure. Can have a deposition. And they'll lie. They'll just lie. It's just, that's all it is. It's a father of lies, boy, that Trump, father of lies. Okay. So, there's all the things that for you and I would be unthinkable are not only thinkable, it's in the toolbox. It's in the strategy toolbox. Yeah. So,
Yeah, it must be nice. Yeah, I don't.
I think
don't
we
even
need
know.
our sign off. We
I
need
don't
our
even
sign
know
off.
what to say. Okay, so we don't have any announcements. I do want to say, just in general, getting back to the announcements, I had Will Seabag Montefiore, because now we have to go up a little bit here at the end.
Yeah, let's
I
go.
had Will Seabag Montefiore on my podcast today, and he's really fucking funny. I just wanted to have him on because he's funny. So we talked about like British stuff, because I've had experts on, love Arthur Snell. Obviously, he has a new podcast, by the way. He's reviving the Doomsday Pod.
Oh, good.
Talking about the war in Ukraine, and it's great. So everyone should, check that out. But I was like, we need something lighter, So I'm gonna have Will on. I'm just gonna ask him about like basic British political stuff, and it was really funny. We had a good time, and we talked about acting a little bit at the end,
good.
kind of the end. And he went on this rant about anti-method acting, which was wonderful. So please check that out. You'll enjoy it, I think. Yeah.
Actors are magical. I don't care how they do what they do. I'm in awe of it. I really am. Like they're magic to me.
Well, a good actor is really just, yeah. Did you do like plays and shit when you were in
I
college?
did a lot. Yes,
Yeah.
I did
Okay.
a lot.
So we had a guy
Enough to know
Yeah.
that it's magical. It's
Yeah,
like,
no, when somebody's good, it's really, I used to direct stuff, so I would cast the thing, and you can tell looking at certain people. But like if you're in a performance with somebody who's really, really good, like extra level good, there's I don't even know how to explain it. There's a timing to it. There's a natural time. Like I'm on stage and I'm doing my thing, and I have my lines in my brain, and I'm saying the lines, and I'm intonating them the right way or whatever. But this guy, he had the lines, but it was more than that. It was about like the pacing and he would wait like a split second before I would deliver the line and it made it more natural. And I remember even in the moment thinking like, oh fuck, this guy's good. Shit, I do not belong on stage with this guy. He's way better than me.
you were out of your league. Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
but thing is, if you're in a show with really good actors, it makes you better. It's like tennis. You rise to the level of the which is the Harry Potter movies, horrible as they are, made Daniel Radcliffe into a good actor because he's with these amazing actors all the time, and it rubbed off eventually on him. Took a little while, but anyway.
Well, I'll tell you what,
yes.
there were a lot of actors on the picket line.
It's nice to
with
hear
us today, and so fellow artist supporting artists is I think that's where we're at in this whole global crisis. Is like, just if you're an artist, find the other artists and hang on tight.
Amen.
And it's because we're just going to have to make it through this and somehow keep creating art, which is important.
Yeah.
All right.
I think, you know what? I want to end on this line. I think we should end on a random line. Maybe. I don't know.
End on a random line. All right.
The movie The Player?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So in The Player, it's the writer gets in the fight with the executive, and Vincent D'Onofrio is the writer, and they're in this pitched sort of scene where D'Onofrio winds up getting killed by the executive, but whatever. And he says to the guy, I can write. What can you do? That's
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everybody. We'll see you next week.